Hi, this is Maggie from Tailspin Petworks, and this is What's Up Dog Training and Behavior Basics for Pet People Part 2 Training Terms. We're going to speak on several different subjects and skills and such that we do in training that are helpful for you to know about and to know what they are. Let's move on. Luring. It is absolutely okay to use a lure to get a behavior, luring your puppy into a sit or a down, that sort of thing. But it is important to learn how to fade them. A lure is using a toy, food, or movement to encourage a dog to perform a behavior that can then be reinforced. Fading the lure is a process in which you add a verbal or physical cue and remove the lure itself, rewarding after the behavior is completed. This is so you won't be that person in the dog park waving a cookie in the air trying to get your dog to come to you. Cues. Now, a cue is a thing that tells the learner to do something. Generally, we think of cues as commands and as verbal or physical signals, but there are many kinds of cues, and we're going to talk about a couple of different ones. There are environmental cues. So, for example, like in this slide, where you teach your dog to sit at the curb before you cross the street. Over time, the dog will start doing it automatically because the curb has become the cue. That is an example of a trained cue. A learned cue would be something like you pick up the leash and your dog runs up to you because they know they're going for a walk. Or you pick up the ear meds and the dog runs away from you because they know you're going to put ear meds in their sore ear. Dogs are association machines. We have to remember that. Markers are to tell the dog they did something right, or in the case of a no reward marker, that they did something incorrect. In the first, a reinforcer is coming, and in the second, it is not. Most positive trainers do not use no reward markers. The reason being, most of us try to set the training up so the dog doesn't fail at all, so it's not necessary. Plus, we think that just not saying yes or using our clicker tells the dog, well, that's not the thing we want. Try again. What is a marker cue? Well, this is a combination. It is a marker that also gives the dog information on where the reinforcement is available or what behavior to do next. A lot of sport and obedience trainers use marker cues and can have so many that it's hard to keep up. I try to keep it simple, as in the example here. The behavior is marked and the dog told bowl, which the dog has previously learned means the food is available across the room in a bowl. So, say the dog sits and I go, bowl, it means yes, you've done the right thing. Your cookie's in the bowl, go get it. Rate of reinforcement is something a lot of people have trouble understanding. And this is when they're always saying, when can we fade the food? Well, you got to get to a point where the dog really understands the behavior and has been reinforced enough that you can start doing that. So when we talk about you need to increase your rate of reinforcement, this is basically what we're talking about. It is how often you give the reward in a distance or time situation. There are several different types of schedules of reinforcement. The important thing is that you keep the reinforcement rate high enough that your dog does not get frustrated, give up, or not understand what it is you're trying to reward. There are several examples here. You can either do rewarding every step or every 2 seconds, so you're doing time or distance. And then over time, when the dog starts to really get the behavior, you can start going to a variable one so it's less predictable, and then you can start fading your reinforcers. Rewarding and position. What this means is that we are rewarding or reinforcing where you are trying to build the behavior. So that can mean rewarding on the mat means they're on the mat. Rewarding in a sit means we're reinforcing the sit, that sort of thing. Shaping and chaining. Shaping is teaching a skill in small bits, reinforcing each step until you reach the goal. So you would take one behavior, say pick up a toy and put it in a box, and you would break it up into a bunch of little tiny ones. Look at the toy, touch the toy, pick up the toy, hold the toy, move the toy, drop the toy in the box. That's shaping. Chaining is taking two or more known already skills and linking them together to come up with a new skill under a new cue, like taking dance and spin and putting them together and calling it something else. The 3Ds are the things that you change over time to increase the difficulty and to proof behaviors, which means making your behavior more reliable in different environments. They are distance, distractions, and duration. It is recommended you not try to raise all three at the same time because usually the dog gets a little confused by that. We must crawl before we can walk. Self-reinforcing behaviors are actions in which the reward comes through the environment or the behavior itself. For example, chasing a squirrel or counter surfing. They have nothing to do with us unless we are managing and controlling those behaviors. Management. Preventing what you don't want to happen or helping what you do want to happen. It is used to prevent those self reinforcing behaviors and to set your dog up to succeed in different scenarios. And the training plan is a plan for change. We want to set up management to make sure that the behavior we get is the one we want. We want to make a training plan to say, what does that behavior look like and how do we get there? We teach the skills. We proof it by doing it in our different situations. And then we reduce the management as things improve. Happy training.